Title: The Builder Within, A Story of Purpose and Power. Part 1. The Morning That Changed Everything. Hook. They said Tom was lucky, that he was born smart, that he always had things figured out. But the truth was far less magical. One cold morning, in a tiny apartment above a dusty auto shop, Tom James made a choice that changed his entire life. It wasn't a winning lottery ticket. It wasn't a secret connection. It was a decision to wake up differently. Tom James had been stuck. He was 29, living paycheck to paycheck, driving a rusty truck that coughed louder than it moved, and working in a job he didn't love. Every morning felt the same. He'd scroll his phone, gulp burnt coffee, and rush into traffic. His dreams? Tucked away in some forgotten drawer. But this morning was different. He opened his eyes before the alarm. It was still dark, not a single car outside. No notifications. No noise. Just silence. He sat up slowly and remembered something his grandfather once told him. "Son, the morning doesn't give you greatness, you take it." That memory hit him hard. He stood barefoot on the cold floor, looked out the window, and whispered, "This can't be it. I was meant for more." And that's when it happened. He didn't wait for motivation to strike. He didn't scroll through quotes or sip energy drinks. He made a choice to become the builder of his life, not a bystander. 1. Waking with purpose. Tom realized something strange that morning. The world wasn't going to throw him a parade just because he wanted a better life. There would be no fanfare. No magic moment, just him. And the decision to rise with purpose. He didn't hit snooze. He didn't hide under the covers. Instead, he whispered, "Today, I show up for myself." That simple line felt like a contract. He wasn't waking up for his boss or his bills. He was waking up for his future. Like a train pulling slowly out of a station, his life didn't need perfect tracks. It just needed motion. 1 inch. 1 breath. 1 decision. And he made it. He lit the fire himself. No one handed him the spark. 2. Feeding the mind first. He didn't reach for his phone. He reached for a notebook. On the first page, he wrote, "I am the architect of today." It looked strange on paper, but it felt powerful. Before food. Before coffee. Before anything else, he fed his mind. Instead of junk thoughts, he gave himself a vision. A reminder, your mind is soil. What you plant grows. He chose to plant strength, not stress. Gratitude, not gossip. He stood by his window, breathed deeply, and asked, "What can I build today, with 2 hands and 1 mind?" That thought stuck with him. It moved differently than a to-do list. It felt alive. Real. Heavy with meaning. 3. Choosing one clear objective. Tom didn't list 20 things to do. He wrote down 1. Today, I will finish outlining the first chapter of my business plan. Not someday. Not when I feel like it. Today. That single target changed how he saw the rest of the day. He turned down noise. Skipped scrolling. Skipped gossip. That one clear objective became his anchor. Everything else bowed to it. He wasn't chasing random tasks anymore. He was moving with direction. Like a river that didn't drift, it flowed. 4. Speaking intention aloud before stepping into his day, he did something strange. Something powerful. He spoke out loud. "I will build something today that moves me closer to freedom." His voice was soft, but steady. And no one else heard. But he did, and that's all that mattered. Saying it out loud made it real. It wasn't just a thought floating in his mind. It was a command. A mission. Words, Tom learned, are building blocks. Each one lays a brick. Say the right ones, and you're building a foundation. Say nothing, or worse, speak doubt, and you're tearing your house down before it's even built. 5. Becoming the storm. As he drove to work that morning, traffic was the same. The coffee shop line was the same. The noisy office was the same. But Tom was different. He wasn't floating through the day anymore. He was steering it. He felt like the storm, not the leaf caught in the wind. He knew that success wouldn't come in a flash. It would come in quiet moments, like waking up with purpose, feeding the mind, choosing one aim, speaking it aloud, and doing it again the next day, and the next. That night, Tom looked in the mirror and said, I showed up today. For me. And for the first time in years, he didn't feel stuck. He felt in motion. End of part 1. Next part. The silent contract. How belief becomes action. Would you like the title, description, and hashtags for part 1? Title: The Builder Within, A Story of Purpose and Power * Part 2, The Morning Contract. Speak, build, become hook. Some people wake up and check their phones. Tom James, he now starts each morning by talking to himself, out loud. Crazy? Maybe to some. But something strange began to happen. His life started to obey his voice, not because of magic, not because of luck, but because he began each day with a declaration. After weeks of waking early with purpose and setting one goal a day, Tom felt stronger, more focused. But he knew something was still missing. He was moving in the right direction, but not with the fire he wanted. His days had structure, yet something was keeping them from gaining full momentum. Then one morning, as Tom stood in the quiet of his small kitchen with the smell of black coffee in the air, a strange thought hit him. I think I need to hear myself say it. 1. Speak what you seek. That morning, Tom didn't just write in his notebook. He stood up, placed a hand on the table like it was a podium, and said out loud, Today, I will finish the first draft. I will speak with confidence. I will not delay. The words didn't echo much in the room, but something inside him shifted. It was like flipping a switch. Suddenly, he wasn't just thinking about what he wanted, he was declaring it, and in that declaration came clarity. 2. Words shape reality. Tom began to notice something. When he spoke his goals out loud, they stuck. When he whispered, Today, I will move with focus, his actions began to align. He realized, your voice is not just sound, it's a tool. Life listens. Your body listens. Your thoughts follow your words. When you speak with certainty, it changes how you walk, how you react, even how you feel. Tom wasn't talking to impress others. He was talking to lead himself. To guide his energy, direct his time, and build his future with words first. 3. The morning contract. Each morning, Tom stood still before stepping out the door and spoke like a builder talking to his crew. Today I will build courage. Today I will not complain. Today I will act, even when afraid. It became a ritual. A contract between who he was and who he was becoming. Just like a farmer walks through the field and says, Here I'll plant patience, and here I'll grow strength. Tom was planting seeds with his voice, not superstition, vision. 4. What are you building? One Saturday morning, Tom skipped his usual routine. He slept late, scrolled through his phone, skipped the notebook, and didn't speak his goal aloud. By noon, he felt off, drifting, and then it hit him. He wasn't just missing a routine, he was missing his blueprint. That night, he took a walk and asked himself, What am I actually building here? Not just doing, not just checking off tasks, but building. Was it a new career? A stronger mindset? A life of peace? He had to be honest. Without a clear blueprint, he was just laying bricks for someone else's dream. 5. The invisible construction site. Tom imagined something powerful. Every morning, he stepped onto an invisible construction site. Before him were tools, focus, effort, attention. Each word he spoke, each choice he made, was a brick. But the question remained, was he building something strong, or just stacking blocks with no design? If a stranger passed the structure of his life, what would they see? Something rising, or something half-finished? Scattered, confused, that night he wrote in his notebook, I build with direction, not just ambition. 6. You are becoming. Tom stopped chasing quick wins. Instead, he began to measure success by who he was becoming. Not what he achieved, but how he showed up, when no one was watching. Each morning he looked in the mirror and asked, Am I braver than yesterday? Did I act with honesty? Am I becoming someone I respect? He stopped thinking about how many steps ahead he was, and focused instead on the shape of his spirit. 7. You are the builder and the stone. Tom realized something deep. He wasn't just a person being shaped by life. He was the sculptor, and the stone. Each decision was a stroke of the chisel. Each choice carved something new: patience, Courage. Discipline. He wasn't waiting to become great. He was building that greatness, day by day, word by word. 8. Speak and lead now. Every morning, no matter how tired, no matter the weather, Tom steps into the day and speaks. Today I lead, today I act, today I grow. It's not for motivation. It's for direction. It's how he commands the day, instead of being commanded by it. When the world hears Tom speak, it doesn't always notice. But he notices. He speaks forward. He builds deliberately. He becomes someone worth following, by following his own voice first. End of part 2. Next, part 3. The fire within. How small compromises build silent failure. Would you like a short YouTube title, description, and hashtags for this part? Title: Shape the Morning, Shape the Man. Part 3. The Foundation Hour, Stillness, Motion, and Release. Hook. Tom James used to carry yesterday with him like a second shadow. He'd wake early, dress with purpose, make his list. But deep down, something was off. He was moving forward, but dragging the past behind him. Until one morning, standing in front of his mirror, he asked himself a simple but powerful question. What must I release to move freely? Tom had learned how to plan. He had learned how to speak intention aloud, but he hadn't yet learned how to let go. 1. Begin again, but for real this time. It's easy to say. Start fresh. But what if your heart is still stuck on yesterday? Tom had made progress, but sometimes he woke up with a knot in his chest. The memory of a missed opportunity, a word spoken in frustration, a risk not taken. He didn't want to admit it, but the truth was clear. He was beginning each day bent beneath old regrets. He had to learn that starting again means more than just waking up. It means laying down what no longer serves you. 2. The silent weight of regret. Tom began to notice the quiet heaviness he was carrying. It wasn't obvious, but it was real. That small voice whispering, "You should have done more. You should have been better. You're already behind." He realized regret isn't always loud. Sometimes it just tightens your chest. Or slows your step. But regret, when used right, can be a teacher. And when used wrong, it becomes a chain. 3. A lesson, not a life sentence. Tom took a moment each morning. He'd close his eyes, breathe, and ask, "What do I need to forgive, so I can move freely?" Sometimes it was a mistake, other times a mischance. But often, it was himself. He began to understand, you can't shape the day with clenched fists. You have to release before you can build. Let the lesson stay. Let the weight go. 4. You are not yesterday's version of each new morning. Tom pictured himself as a craftsman. He stood before a fresh slab of stone. Yesterday's sculpture had flaws, but today held new possibility. Would he spend today staring at what he messed up, or would he pick up the tools, now wiser, steadier, stronger? He chose to carve again. Because growth doesn't come from shame. It comes from the willingness to begin again. 5. Move with intention. Tom also learned this. A sluggish body invites a sluggish mind. There were mornings he didn't feel like doing anything, but even just 10 minutes of stretching, a short walk outside, a few deep breaths, and his whole spirit shifted. He didn't move for calories or records. He moved to wake up his will. 6. The power of movement. When Tom moved his body, he was making a declaration. I'm not here to coast. I'm here to create. The rhythm of motion, his breath in sync with effort, it became a quiet mantra. I'm alive. I'm capable. I'm not finished. He didn't need a gym. He didn't need fancy gear. He just needed motion, and the willingness to meet the day as a force, not a follower. 7. The quiet that builds kings. Tom also discovered the one thing most people skip: stillness. Not sleep, not laziness, not zoning out. Real stillness. The kind that comes before the noise. The kind where you sit with your breath, ask what matters today, and actually listen. Before emails, before headlines, before distractions. In that space, Tom heard a voice louder than the world, his own. 8. Stillness is not stagnation. Stillness gave Tom something no app or podcast could: clarity. It's in the pause that great work begins. Just like a sculptor studies the stone before the first strike, Tom learned to observe his day before shaping it. His most powerful decisions didn't come from noise. They came from silence. 9. Your morning is a weapon. Tom's morning became his foundation. A time to forgive what needed to be released. Move to awaken power. Sit in silence to find direction. Declare his goals out loud, not to impress, but to own. His mornings weren't perfect, but they were his, and that ownership changed everything. 10. Gratitude as a discipline. Last, Tom learned something simple but transformative. Gratitude is not a mood. It's a muscle. Some mornings, he didn't feel thankful, but he practiced it anyway. Grateful for breath, grateful for another shot, grateful for lessons dressed as losses. He didn't wait to feel it. He practiced it, until he did. Because gratitude, when practiced daily, builds peace like nothing else. Tom no longer stumbled into his day. He walked into it like a man stepping onto a stage, with direction, with stillness, with strength. He let go of yesterday. He moved his body with purpose. He listened inward before the world told him who to be. And above all, he remembered that every morning isn't just a reset. It's a choice. End of part 3. Next, part 4. The Fire Within: How Small Compromises Build Silent Failure. 6-part motivational story inspired by Napoleon Hill. Part 4. The Invisible Walls. Theme: Fear of judgment, breaking limiting beliefs, courage through action, inner voice versus outer noise. Word count: 1,000. Audience: American. Language: simple and easy English. Ethan always felt like something was holding him back. Not chains or ropes, but something invisible, something inside. He had ideas. He had dreams. He wanted to start his own business. A small thing, really, a food truck selling fresh, healthy meals. He had recipes. He had passion. But every time he got close to taking action, a voice in his head would whisper, "What will people think?" It was the same voice that had stopped him from trying out for the baseball team in high school. The same voice that made him delete his social media posts before anyone could see them. That voice had one mission: to keep Ethan safe. But it also kept him stuck. One day, while walking through the park, Ethan sat on a bench beside an old man feeding birds. The man had kind eyes and a slow smile. "You look like someone carrying something heavy," the man said. Ethan chuckled. "Just thinking." The man nodded. "Thinking is good. Until it becomes a prison." Ethan looked at him. "What do you mean?" The man tossed some crumbs and said, "When I was your age, I dreamed of being a painter. But I kept thinking, what if people laugh? So I never painted. Now I just feed birds. They don't laugh. But they don't care either." The words stuck. That night, Ethan sat down and wrote one question at the top of a blank page. "Whose opinion is stopping me?" He thought of friends, coworkers, people online, even strangers he hadn't met yet. He realized most of his fear came from people who didn't pay his bills, live his life, or know his heart. He had built invisible walls around his dreams, walls made of fear, judgment, and what ifs. The next morning, he decided to do something simple. Not launch the business. Not rent a truck. Just post one of his recipes online. A healthy taco bowl. He hit post. His heart raced. 10 minutes passed. One comment: "This looks amazing. Do you sell these?" His hands trembled. Not from fear, but from possibility. Over the next few weeks, Ethan kept posting. Then he started taking small lunch orders from coworkers. They loved his food. Word spread. One client offered to help him design a logo. Another connected him to a used truck dealer. Momentum had a sound. And it wasn't the loud noise of the world. It was the quiet rhythm of small, brave steps. One evening, he sat down with his notebook. He wrote, "The walls I feared were never real. They were made of my own doubt. When I walked through them, I realized no one was standing in my way but me." Ethan's journey didn't explode overnight. But each day, he chose action over fear. Progress over perfection. Purpose over permission. Lessons from Ethan's story, Napoleon Hill Style 1. Fear is a liar with a loud voice. Most of our limitations are imagined. We don't act because we fear judgment, not failure. Point 2. Action cures fear. Small steps silence the inner critic. Each time you act, the fear shrinks. Point 3. You don't need everyone to believe in you. Just one supporter can create momentum. Often, that first supporter is you. Point 4. The outer world is often quieter than your inner fears. People are not watching you as closely as you think. Most are too busy with their own lives. Point 5. Start before you're ready. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a first step. Clarity comes from doing, not waiting. Reflection exercise for the reader. Write down 3 fears that are stopping you. Ask yourself, whose voice is this really? Choose one small action you can take today. Just one. Send the email. Make the call. Record the video. Share the idea. Quote to remember. What would you do if no one was watching? Do that. That's where freedom lives. Next part 5 preview. In part 5, we'll meet Ava, a young woman who learns how to turn failure into feedback and setbacks into fuel. Her journey shows us that every stumble is a step forward, if you choose to rise. Would you like me to continue with part 5 now? 6-part motivational story inspired by Napoleon Hill. Part 5. Failure is not the end. Theme: failure as feedback, the courage to try again, building persistence, resilience through meaning. Word count: 1000. Audience: American. Language: simple and easy English. Ava had a gift for writing. Ever since she was young, her notebooks were filled with poems, short stories, and ideas. Her dream? To become a published author. At 23, she finally finished her first book, a young adult mystery. She stayed up many nights, rewriting chapters, fixing sentences, making sure it was just right. Her heart was in every page. She sent the book to 15 publishers, then waited. 1 month later, the rejections started to arrive. Some were kind. Your writing is strong, but we're not taking new authors. Others were cold. Not a fit. Best of luck. One didn't even reply at all. Ava was crushed. All her hope, all her effort, it felt wasted. Her confidence shattered. She didn't write for weeks. 1 morning, her grandmother, Nana June, came over and found her curled up on the couch. You haven't touched your notebook, she said gently. Ava shrugged. What's the point? No one wants it. Nana June smiled and handed her an old photo album. See this? She said, pointing to a picture of a small garden with barely any flowers. That was my first try. I planted those flowers with love, but they barely grew. Too much shade, bad soil. Ava nodded. So you gave up? Her grandmother laughed. No, sweetie. I tried again. Different spot. Better soil. Watered daily. The next year, it bloomed. She tapped the picture. This wasn't failure. It was feedback. Those words stayed with Ava all day. Not failure, feedback. She opened one of the rejection emails again. This time, she noticed something new. One editor had added a small note. Consider strengthening the ending. The twist was clever, but it felt rushed. She had missed that before, blinded by disappointment. That night, Ava reread her book. She saw what the editor meant. The ending was rushed. She had been afraid to stretch it out, worried readers would get bored. But now, she saw the value of taking her time. So she rewrote the final 3 chapters. Slower. Stronger. Clearer. She let the mystery unfold like it should. Then, instead of sending the book back to publishers, she decided to self-publish it online. 1 copy at a time. Just to see. The first week, she sold 8 copies. Mostly friends and family. The second week, 27.by the third month, 800 copies and counting. A well-known book reviewer on TikTok read her story and shared it. Sales jumped again. Soon, a publisher who had originally rejected her reached out, this time asking if she had more work. Ava smiled. She did. What changed? Not the book, not the talent. Her mindset. She stopped seeing rejection as no, and started seeing it as not yet. Lessons from Ava's story, Napoleon Hill Style 1. Rejection is not a stop sign. It's often a redirection, an invitation to improve, not a verdict on your worth. Point 2. Failure is feedback. Every stumble teaches you something. If you listen closely, it tells you how to win next time. Point 3. Persistence makes you powerful. Most people quit too soon. Keep going when others stop, and you'll separate yourself from the crowd. Point 4. Your first version isn't your final form. Growth happens when you revisit your work, your ideas, even yourself, with new eyes. Point 5. If no one opens the door, build your own. Don't wait for permission. Create your own path. Trust that it matters. Reflection exercise for the reader. Think of a time you failed or got rejected. What did it teach you? Write it down. Ask yourself, what would happen if I tried one more time, just a little wiser this time? Take one small action toward what you gave up on. Rewrite. Rebuild. Retry. Quote to remember. Every master was once a beginner who refused to quit. Next part, Part 6 Preview. In the final part, we'll meet Marcus, a man who learns the secret to creating lasting success by lifting others as he climbs. His story shows how the highest form of wealth is not money, but impact. Would you like me to send Part 6 now? 6-part motivational story inspired by Napoleon Hill. Part 6. The power of lifting others. Theme: lasting success through service, contribution, legacy, and multiplying value by helping others grow. Word count: 1,000. Audience: American. Language: simple and easy English. Marcus had spent most of his life chasing success. He started with nothing, just an old laptop, big dreams, and a deep hunger to prove himself. After years of hard work, he built a small company that helped local businesses grow online. At 35, he had everything he thought he wanted: money in the bank, a downtown office, a nice car, and a growing client list. But something didn't feel right. Every day felt the same. Work. Meetings. Numbers. More money. But less meaning. One rainy evening, Marcus was walking home and saw a teenage boy sitting on the steps of a closed library. The boy had a tattered notebook, writing with deep focus under a flickering street lamp. Marcus paused. "What are you working on?" The boy looked up, startled. "Just ideas. I want to start a business one day. I read about people like Elon Musk and Damon John." Marcus smiled. "You're starting young." The boy nodded. "But I don't have a computer or internet at home. I come here to think." Marcus handed him his business card. "Come by my office tomorrow. We'll talk." The next day, the boy, his name was Jalen, showed up. Nervous, curious, hopeful. Marcus gave him a used laptop, a free desk in the corner, and 1 hour every week for mentorship. Weeks passed. Then months. Jalen soaked up everything like a sponge. Marketing. Writing. Building websites. Solving problems. He stayed late, worked hard, and asked questions others never thought to ask. Within a year, he launched a small service helping local artists sell their work online. It wasn't huge, but it was his, and it was just the beginning. One morning, a client told Marcus, "Your company has gotten better lately. Sharper. Brighter. More heart." "What changed?" Marcus smiled. "I started mentoring someone." That was the day Marcus realized something simple but powerful. Success becomes fulfilling when you help someone else succeed. So he started a new habit. For every dollar he earned, he gave a small piece of time, knowledge, or tools to someone who had less but wanted more. He started hosting monthly workshops for high school students. He created a scholarship fund. He offered internship slots for first-generation college kids. He even gave small grants to young entrepreneurs who had an idea and a plan. One of them opened a bakery. Another started a tutoring app. Another created a podcast that went viral. And every time they grew, Marcus grew too. Not just in business, but in peace, in joy, in meaning. Years later, Marcus stood on a stage receiving an award for Entrepreneur of the Year. He looked out at the audience and saw faces he had mentored. Jalen, now running a 6-figure brand, sat front row with his own interns. Marcus said simply, "I thought success was about climbing, but real success is when you climb and build a ladder behind you. The room rose in applause. Lessons from Marcus's story, Napoleon Hill Style 1. Your greatest value is not what you get, but what you give. Money fades. Impact echoes. Point 2. Lift as you climb, bring others up with you. That's how legacies are made. Point 3. You can change a life with one tool, one word, one chance. Don't underestimate your power. Point 4. The fastest way to multiply success is to share it. Knowledge multiplies when passed on. So does opportunity. Point 5. Wealth without meaning feels empty. Meaning comes from contribution, adding value to others. Reflection exercise for the reader. Who helped you become who you are today? Write down their names. Send them a thank you message. Who can you help now? A cousin? A neighbor? A student? A friend? Give one tool. One conversation. One open door. It might change their life, and yours. Quote to remember. Service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth. Muhammad Ali. Glowing Star. Final call to action. Glowing Star. If these stories inspired you, even a little, then don't keep it to yourself. White heavy check mark. Share this with someone chasing a dream. White heavy check mark. Comment what part hit you the hardest. White heavy check mark and subscribe for more motivational stories every week. Let's build not just success, but a better world.